All right, so we've talked a lot about so far about how you guys are responsible for this and that and the consequences of that. But one of the things that we also want to make sure we touch on is how you being a responsible person can impact and affect others. So if I am a responsible person, how can that impact those around me? So if I'm a responsible person and if I tell you that I'm going to call this parent and I'm going to set this up, how does that affect you as an administrator?
Well, it definitely affects me in a lot of ways because it actually helps me because I am very busy. And so when you're not the only person that is dealing with things that you would like me to be a part of or I need to deal with. So when I have someone in your role that you're wanting to speak to or deal with, but you need me to be there with, like that is very nice when you have all of that set up because then I can leave whatever I'm doing at that moment and I know that at 1 o'clock I need to be over here with Miss Hallie and this parent that's already been set up and everything's done and I can sit there and be a support system to that piece. So that's very helpful.
And then so let's translate that to our students. If we have a student who gets good grades and comes to school on time every day and is a good example to their peers and is helpful and communicates well, how can that benefit those around them?
Well, there's a lot of factors in play that help that situation because when we do have students that are being respectful, getting their work done. I mean, a good example would be this past year when we went through the whole COVID experience. Like, I don't think a lot of students didn't realize that when you didn't call in for attendance, like we have to do attendance records, not just for ourselves, but for the state. And the state requires a certain percentage of your students to come to school to check in. And we actually have someone that's hired that deals with all that attendance piece. And so when you simply don't just turn your attendance in and we have to make the phone calls and we have to wait the phone call just so that we could hit the mark X that you were there, that is a powerful piece. And to have to cause someone to have to work 2 and 3 hours and even the whole day to wait to hear if you even checked in, to me, when it's simply all you had to do was just get up, hit the clerk that you were in, could have saved a lot of time and a lot of issues. The responsibility of every morning I can think of today, this is so basic, but every morning I will stay on the do your attendance and pick a lunch. There are many kids that do pick a lunch. But what's sad is the students that didn't pick a lunch, guess what?
They still want one.
They still took a lunch. Guess what else happened? The kids that wanted a lunch, that chose the lunch, that did the responsible thing if did it, didn't get it because the irresponsible student took the lunch. So you had a lot of students that stood on the side that didn't even get any food because of that. And those are just really basic and may seem minute, but to me, that is a part where it affects a whole piece. Just because you didn't make the right choice and you didn't choose something caused other things to be affected. And honestly, as a young person, that's to be expected, but when you hear something over and over again and you realize like, okay, I need to do this and I need to do what I need to do to be responsible, is a big deal.
It is. And I would say kind of on the flip side of that, when we have kids that are outstanding scholars and student athletes and they're involved in the community and they're good role models to their peers and they help their peers out, that can benefit them in so many ways, such as being involved in the community and getting, some clout that way. Colleges are looking for these kinds of responsible students. When we're looking to place kids in programs such as our tech program and other jobs programs, we're not looking for the kid that's slacking on everything. We're looking for you, John Q student or Juanita Q student, who is doing their job, who has a good attitude, who shows up and works hard, because that's who we want to represent us as Warrensburg-Latham. So that's kind of what we're looking for. And then when we're thinking about not only in the community and at school, but when we're thinking about, even just your relationships with your friends, I think there are certain expectations of communication and responsibility with a friendship. So if we make plans for Friday after school, the responsible thing is to probably show up. And if you can't, then you need to communicate that. So much like what you were saying earlier, I think that responsibility and that communication piece are often very interlinked. And if we're not being responsible to ourselves or to our friends, I think that can definitely have some impact on your own life and the lives of those around you.
I totally agree. And I think when I think about friendships and being responsible for friendships, I know that social media is a big deal for teenagers. Even as adults, we use social media a lot. And a lot of times we may see or hear things concerning our friends. And I think the best piece, things that I've dealt with here, in our school, and I know that things that you've dealt with, is a lot of feelings and emotions and friendships have been hurt because of that responsible piece as a friendship to be protective for your friend over social media or things that are said or done or screenshots or pictures that are sent across the board and talking like, are you really their friend if you're doing those things?
Right.
And you're really not. But the thing is, how do you see yourself as a friend to your friend through social media or through those communication pieces? Those are big deals, and it's very important. And really, what it does is it really shows that kind of character that you are as a person.
Well, I think we've kind of touched on a lot of things about responsibility today. We talked about the good points of it, the difficulties of it, the consequences of being responsible and not being responsible. If you guys have any further questions about this, please feel free to see any of us. And on that note, we thank you and have a good day.